to separate me from love. I love you, my Jesus. Nothing will be able to turn me away
Solution Inc.
from
We are the
your
best in resolving your passport, birth certificate, and driver's license needs. But that's not all we have to offer. Our services also include marriage certificates, late entry of name, late registration, deed poll, preparing immigration forms, notary public services, and other specialized documents designed to meet your needs. UDS is at 4225 Monticello Avenue, Bronx, New York, 10466. Our friendly and courteous staff is ready and waiting. So pick up the phone. Don't delay. Call us at 914-384-4903 or 914-361-9466. Also visit our website at www.udssolution.com or email expow473@gmail.com. Universal Document Solution Inc. No hassle. We do it all for you.
Come to Cooler Runnings Restaurant, located at 1802 Nerid Avenue, corner of Wickham Avenue in the Bronx. We specialize in the best Jamaican and American cuisine, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. We offer free in-house delivery, minimum $20 purchase, and we also have Uber Eats. We do barbecue Thursdays, fish fry Fridays, and seafood Saturdays. For more information, give us a call for our address and menu, 718-324-7484. Once again, that's 718-324-7484. Cooler Runnings Restaurant, simply the best Jamaican food.
It is Monday. Good afternoon to you, and you. My voice has touched the airwaves at 18 minutes after 5 o'clock. Hey everybody, how are you doing? Monday, September 27, 2020, 2021. Today is the last September 27th you're ever gonna see. So you have to stick and stay with me. My name is Denise Lady D. Gomez. Monday. Welcome to the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. And if you don't know, Inside the Zone is a community platform where information is guaranteed. And if you did not know, I am the host and producer of this show. Thank you for joining me as always. I never take you for granted. The Monday Drive is brought to you by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. And Universal Document Solution, Inc., 4225 Monticello Avenue, also in the Bronx. Don't forget my email is insidethezonelyc@gmail.com. My connecting partners this afternoon, CaribbeanVibesRadio.com, signradio.net. And I'm, of course, broadcasting from Linkage Radio 104.5, 101.7 FM. It has been a beautiful Monday, wouldn't you say? I walked outside today and I'm like, oh, I wore a little jacket, my jacket for work. And I wasn't like hot and puffing or anything like that. Of course, our telephone number is 914-600-4228. What is on my fourth Monday lineup for you on a Monday afternoon? The Monday Beat, chasing the Monday blues out of here with great music. In voices this afternoon, Elaine Thompson Hera. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the fact that she had denied reports that she's leaving the MVP track club. And then. Today, my music zone centers around my gents, the gentlemen. Gents Monday. So, gentlemen, it's selections just about you. A Jamaica ting, I'm taking you to some nice steamed fish. And it has never been this good. Keeping you in the know at 6 p.m. with news, happenings, and facts. Community Live, what will the Jamaican government do about the chronic state of mental health in Jamaica? And this stems from an article that I have here. Oh God, a very unfortunate one. What can I say? The show continues nevertheless right here on Inside of the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez, Linkage Radio, your budding and buzzing station, 24/7, 365 days for the year at 22 minutes after 5 o'clock. Let's get into the segment that I call the Monday Beat, chasing the Monday blues out of here.
Have I shown you what I'm feeling when I hold you? It feels like heaven surrounds me. Every time you wrap your arms around me, and there's nothing I can say or ever do to deserve the love of a woman like you. When you're with me.
Want to say hi to Sandra. Sandra says from the top, have mercy.
How much you miss me.
Taking it from the top just for you, Sandra.
Have I told you? Have I shown you what I'm feeling when I hold you? It feels like heaven, heaven surrounds me. Every time you wrap your arms around me, and there's nothing I can say or ever do to deserve the love of a woman like you. When you're with me, when you kiss me, when you tell me how much you miss me, every moment we're together brings us closer, closer to forever. And there's nothing I can say or ever do to deserve the love of a woman like you. Well, yeah. Woman like you. Yeah. Where would I go? What would I do? Who would I be without a woman like you? Oh, a woman like you. Have I told you? Have I shown you what I'm feeling when I hold you? It feels like heaven, heaven surrounds me. Every time you wrap your arms around me, and there's nothing I can say or ever do to deserve the love of a woman like you. No, there's nothing I can say or ever do to deserve the love of a woman like you. Yeah, yeah. A woman like you. Oh, I don't deserve it, but I'm thankful. Oh, a woman like you. A woman like you. Woman like you. Wrap my arms around you. Oh, a woman like you. Don't deserve it, but I'm thankful for a woman like you.
Hello?
Hey, just see a missed call from you.
No man, no pay that. No man, it was a mistake.
You know I never no mistake. Man. But anyway, I could have dinner later.
I don't think that's a good idea. Remember I told you we're just friends?
Friends.
Yeah, friends.
Cool.
Really, later.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Do you really think that we can be just friends? Do you really think so, baby? See, you're acting cool as if we were nothing. If you think that it's that easy, think again. If you let me get over you, you're the one that's gonna lose out. You'll never find a love like mine. No, love's gotta hurt sometimes. You know, don't be hasty. Be patient, baby, 'cause you'll never find a love like mine. No matter where you go. No, no. No matter where you go, no, no, matter where you go. Sitting thinking of all that we've been through. Ooh, I'm alone in my thoughts, and my thoughts are all on you. Ooh, you were not around, but your perfume is in this ground. Ooh, it makes me reminisce. Baby, how did we come to this? Ooh, girl, you'll never find a love like mine. No, love's gotta hurt sometimes. You know, don't be hasty. Be patient, baby, 'cause you'll never find a love like mine. No matter where you go. No,
5:30 p.m. The Monday beat. Chasing the Monday blues out of here. It is my Gents Monday. That's Music Monday.
You'll never find a love like mine. Oh, yeah. Love's gotta hurt sometimes. You know, don't be hasty. Be patient, baby, 'cause you'll never find a love like mine. No matter where you go. No, no, no matter where you go. No, no, matter where you go.
'Shan Production. Oh, save it, save it, save it. What you doing? Where you at? Oh, you got plans? Don't say that. I'm sipping wine in a row. I look too good to be alone. My house clean, my pool warm. I don't shake. You should be dancing, romancing in the east wing and the west wing of this mansion was happening. I play no games, every word that I say is coming straight from the heart. So if you try to lay in these arms, I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open, girl. I'ma leave the door open. That you feel the way I'm feeling, I want you like you want me tonight, baby. Tell me that you're coming through. Look here, you're so sweet, you're so tight. I won't bite, I love you right. And if you smoke, I got the haze. And if you're hungry, girl, I got the lace. Baby, don't keep me waiting. There's so much love we could be making. I'm talking kissing, I'm talking cuddling, I'm talking rose feathers to the top, baby, jumping, what's bumping. I play no games, every word that I say is coming straight from my heart. So if you try to
You can't say that you didn't get a good run of the Monday beat with the Gents Music Monday today. Chasing the Monday blues out of here. I gave you Gramps Morgan, A Woman Like You. I gave you Christopher Martin, You'll Never Find Another. Hoo, 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 hoo. And I just gave you Anthony Cruz's Leave the Door Open. Anthony's remix is off the hook. He sent it to me. And I'm like, I had to send him back a note to say, Anthony, you did amazing with this. He was just good with this, can I tell you? Good afternoon, everyone. And as always, I do have DL, as always, on. Greetings there, Mr. Chris Wilby from Caribbean Vibes Radio Network. Good afternoon to you. DL has come on to the program. The moment he came on, he's like, he said, you're in a P&P colors door. I'm sporting my little orange jacket with my inner black top, piped with my gold studs. What you want with me, DL? Hello, when I'm coming and I'm on TV, I have to dress myself appropriately. And I know I'm just joking. I know how we do these things. So hello, everyone. This is, I talk fast sometimes. Did you know that? Yes. This is Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez. And today's feature is the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. I'm saying good afternoon to just about everyone tuning in, wherever you are tuning in to the program from your location. I hope you rested well last night. I hope you had the most fabulous weekend. I hope you want to tell me what's going on. But we have a lot to do today, because at 6 o'clock we'll have Keeping You in the Know with news, happenings, and facts. And man, we have news. Oh my gosh. I read through the headlines and then I saw additional headlines pop in and I read them. And I read all of them because I need to, pretty much grasp what we will be discussing. And I'm like, oh, gee, today is a day, man. They have me, I wish I could say running for my money. But I can't. 5:37 p.m. It is now time for the segment Voices, an intellectual voice that has everyone talking. And it's now time for me to take you to a very familiar young woman who has been doing so much in track and field. Welcome to the segment Voices, the intellectual voice that has everyone talking.
Okay, anywho. Guess what, folks? Sharika Jackson, who won a bronze medal in the 100 meter in a Jamaican sweep at the Tokyo Olympics, and many after that, is back home. And we're going to talk to her about all those records and stuff that she's zooming in this morning, all glammed up and looking like you should be on a set for a modeling shoot. Are you sure you're on the right interview? Sharika, good morning.
Definitely, good morning.
Oh, man, welcome home, lady. When did you touch down?
Thank you.
When you came?
Last week, Thursday.
And you've been doing the rounds ever since. So you got your bun. You've
Yes.
gotten your potties.
Definitely.
What else you did wanted? And
And ice cream. I got my ice cream.
And you got
too.
your ice cream. So the check. Good to go. What about rest? Any rest in there?
Yes, I got a little rest.
Awesome. Okay.
Great to see you, Sharika. We can get something out of the way right away and we move on. What with the 200 now? Tell me about that and we move on.
Honestly, I think I misjudged the race a little bit, and I had to pay for it. It was heartbroken. I was really heartbroken because I loved the 200. I wanted to run the 200 actually, because at first I was supposed to run the 200 at the trials and not the 100. To my surprise, yes, I ran 10:7, but I was excited to run the 200. But unfortunately, I had to learn a hard lesson. And the lesson that I learned is that no matter what, I must not slow down early. Too bad I had to learn it at the Olympic Games. So, I learned so much lesson from that. As I said, I was heartbroken. I cried so much. but I got past it because the championship wasn't finished and I wanted to refocus. I prayed about it because I never asked God why. I prayed about it, and for me, it's just I had to learn. And I always say, no matter what I had planned for myself, it's not what God had planned for me. So I was like, oh, I wanted to run a fast 200, but God had other plans for me, and I just have to move on. It's part of the sport, and I had to learn to move on. I cried, as I said, and I move on, and I'm okay.
I kept saying that you just made a mistake, and I kept saying she make a mistake, leave her alone. But how difficult was it for you to move on? Because I mean, that must have been on your in your mind for the rest of the Olympics. How difficult was it for you to move on?
It was honestly, it was really, really difficult. I never wanted to eat. I don't eat for about 2 days. I was yes, I was in my room. I had my roommate. I had my friend Candice as my roommate, and I never let her saw me crying because she was going to compete at 2 days after me, and I never wanted that type of energy around her. So some of the times I would go in the bathroom and I taking a shower and I cried. It was really, really difficult. My massage therapist helped me though, because he was like, come on, you have to eat. Remember, the championship isn't over. So I started to get my groove on and okay then, maybe I drop out the 200 because they would have needed me the 4x1, and then the 4x4 happened, and I was like, I had plans for myself, but God had other plans for me. So
really
it
and
was
truly,
really
it kind of highlights the beauty and the ugliness of this track and field thing, eh? One day you're riding high, and another minute, just a literal second, can be the difference between, great glory and what for you was a really hot sting that you had to then work through because, as you said, the championships weren't over. And you looked at it in that way. Maybe I, never did this because they would have needed me for that. Sharika, the way you stepped up these Olympic Games, I mean, increíble en español, incredible in English. We knew you had it in you, but were you surprised by the reaction of Jamaicans at how we were, oh my God, look at Sharika, and everybody kind of lifted you up and said, girl, you are that cog in our wheel. How did you feel about that?
honestly, I was really, really surprised because, after the 100, I got so much love from Jamaica and across the world. And then, not to mention, when I came out and run the 4x4, honestly, I was shocked by the amount of love I got, the amount of support. But, as I said, as I wanted to run the 200, but it didn't happen. But I think a lot of persons get to see how talented I am and how good I am to be able to step down from the 400 to the 100 and still able to run a good leg of 4x4. So I think that was one of the highlights of the Olympic game for me, and I enjoy it because a lot of persons a lot of persons doesn't pay much attention to the quarter milers. So for me to step down and a lot of persons really actually like, oh, she's can run all event and is great at all event. That for me was a sealer for everything. So I was really, really grateful for that because, as I said, a lot of persons get to see my talent. My talent was there, but I don't think they were actually seeing how good I am. So, for that, I was really, really grateful for all of that.
So, Sharika, tell me now, 1, 2, 4, 8 steeplechase. What you
I'm
going
just
to
saying,
do?
egg and spoon.
Egg and spoon.
What?
Which?
What's that? Sack race. Let's just do all of it, Sharika.
If you could only do one from here, which one would you do?
I think I'll do the 400. Reason being, when I run the sprints, all right, probably I would get used to it. But when I run the short sprint, it takes so much out of my body to actually run 100 and 200. For me, the 400, you can pick up each 100 and it's more like I enjoy doing it. The 100 is so difficult. I tell people that, every time I always tell my sprinters friend, I was like, look, you guys are great. to be able to sprint like this. When I sprint, my muscles are so sore. I was like, no man, sprinting is hard, but I will definitely choose the 400. I love the highlights of the 100 and the 200, but if I was supposed to choose, I definitely choose the 400.
But I spoke to Usain and I asked him the same thing, and him said 400 training too hard. Him said can't manage 400 training, but you seem to
Exactly.
Yeah, you're the opposite to that.
Well, I have not done a lot of sprinting program this year, but the few amount of sprinting program I did, it took a toll on my body. And I think for me, quarter mile program is a little easier than the sprinting. Maybe it's just because I just really, really started in the sprint program, but the quarter mile program, I'll definitely choose the 400, honestly.
So you're talking about the toll it took on your body, and you're talking about the few programs you've done, and look at what you went on the track and did with the few programs you've done, and with the toll it took on. First of all, you ain't tired is the first thing. And secondly, how does it feel to know that your skill sets and your arsenal is so deep that you can pull off a 100, you can pull off a 200, and when they need you for 400, you were there, and you're good at all of them. That must be a fantastic feeling.
Honest, as I said, it's a great feeling because, when I heard I was stepping down to the 100, I was excited. I just ran like 11:02 2 weeks before. So I was excited. I wanted to when coach was like, oh, you're in 10-7 shape. I was like, I never really paid any mind because I was like, maybe, I don't know how fast you're supposed to be running in training. But, he had a target for some part of the training and I surpassed those. So, he was like, oh, you're in 10-7 shape. So when I actually ran it in the semifinal, I was surprised, So when I went to the Olympic and I heard he'd be talking about the 4x4, but I don't pay it any mind because I just never wanted to run in 4x4. They had great quarter milers. All of the quarter milers was on top form. So, I never wanted to say, okay, then I will run the 4x4. But after the 4x1 and they reached out and I was like, oh, you're available 4x4? I was like, no. No.
I'm tired.
Then I spoke with my coach and he was like, oh, yeah, you can go there, go do it. I was like, do you think I am in quarter shape? I don't think I am, So for me to be able to step up for them, it was a really actually wonderful feeling. I enjoy every moment at the Olympic Games.
What?
So I loved everything about it. I've waited for a year, which I think that year works really, really good for me. Honestly, it was a blessing for me.
Okay.
That off year, it was really a blessing. So, to be able to be at the Olympic and competing at my best, I really, really enjoy it.
I know you guys get about 2 minutes off and then you start again. So tell me what's next. When do you start again or you start already? And then what's next? The World Championship?
No, right now I'm on off season. I supposed to start October. So for me, I'm just enjoying the movement. I went back home. The love and support was really still there. So, I just enjoy the moment, as I go along. Some people see it and don't know it's me because, everybody was like, oh, you look so small in person. So, yeah, I'm just enjoying the moment, having a good time. I love every moment of it. As I said, people get to really, that is Sharika, depending on, because a lot of person can't really identify me in person. But, I'm just enjoying the holiday, little break. I'm enjoying every moment of it.
Well, I was so proud of Sharika Jackson. Her delivery was on point. Oh, my goodness. A few years ago, because she is a past student of my alma mater, Vere Technical High School in Hayes in Clarendon. And a few years ago, our New York chapter of the Vere Technical Alumni Association invited her up and we awarded her. And she has grown since the time we saw her to today. I mean, she could hardly talk that time. But what I love is that they coach them, no matter what you think, they are coached. And some of them take it very well. Some don't at all. But congrats to Sharika. I thought I should share this with you this week. So, hello everyone, welcome. My name is Denise Lady D. Gomez. It is the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. Don't forget the show is brought to you by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. What a thing they're doing off Nereid Avenue, corner of Nereid and Wickham Avenue. They have a jerk center across the street from the actual restaurant. Have you been over there yet? I have been telling my sponsor that I'm directing you over there, so I'm hoping you have taken the opportunity to go and to place your order and support them. They do so much in their community. Of course, they do have a nonprofit organization, Cargill Community Project, and it's going very well. So, you know, I like those things, right? That's where I survive. So please support them, won't you? 9 minutes now to the hour of 6 o'clock, and I do have some more music for you. And I don't know, I wanted to get into my Jamaica thing. I'm not sure I'll be able to air that for you this afternoon, but nevertheless, you know, I do have some music for you. And here is a favorite of yours, I'm sure of that.
I can tell you a story about
It's my Gents Music Monday. I'm bringing it just for you. Good afternoon.
on the floor. She came back wanting for more, for more. Now I don't know what it is that I've got, but she whispered it was so nice, so nice. But her man is sitting across the way, and he could hear the things I say. Now he watches from the corner of his eyes. So a move like this would be so unwise. Ooh, ooh, he's standing in my way. Standing in my way. You could see she was more than ready to make the move with me anytime. Not even thinking of the consequences, oh no, no. So I had to think quickly. Cause her man, his face was looking oh so mean. As if any time he could create a scene. So gently I pushed her away. Ooh, ooh, he wants to spoil the play. He's standing in my way. He's standing in my way. Whoa, whoa. Now I understand how he feels, but I wish he'd give me a little room. I know he's got himself a raw deal, ooh, ooh. But I'd like to leave with this lady soon. I didn't mean to be so unkind, but I had more than two, and the one was looking fine. Big spender he was, had to have his own way. Thought he'd leave, but he stayed. Ooh, ooh, still standing in my way. Hey, hey. Standing in my way. Hey, hey. He's standing in my way. Hey. Ooh, ooh, standing in my way. Yeah. Standing in my way. That's what one dance can do. Standing. After one dance on the floor, she came back wanting for more.
Four minutes and counting to keeping you in the know with news happenings and facts. Call 914-600-4228 to be a part of the discussion this afternoon. Want to say hi to a newbie on the YouTube channel. That's Errol Stewart, aka Cat. Cat, it's so nice of you to finally get on. Also want to say hi to my guy Ryan and to, of course, Princess, hot and small. So Princess and Cat, we all grew up together in Penance in Clarendon. So I have my yardies here with me. 3 minutes to the hour of 6 o'clock. Taking it down on a Monday afternoon. Hello, it's my Gents Music Monday. Hope you enjoyed all of that. Don't forget the show is brought to you by...
At Universal Document Solution Inc., we are the best in resolving your passport, birth certificate, and driver's license needs. But that's not all we have to offer. Our services also include marriage certificates, late entry of name, late registration, deed poll, preparing immigration forms, notary public services, and other specialized documents designed to meet your needs. UDS is at 4225 Monticello Avenue, Bronx, New York, 10466. Our friendly and courteous staff is ready and waiting. So pick up the phone. Don't delay. Call us at 914-384-4903 or 914-361-9466. Also visit our website at www.udssolution.com or email expow473@gmail.com. Universal Document Solution Inc. No hassle. We do it all for you.
When you are hungry, come to Cooler Runnings Restaurant. Located at 1802 Nerid Avenue, corner of Wickham Avenue in the Bronx, we specialize in the best Jamaican and American cuisine, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. We offer free in-house delivery, minimum $20 purchase, and we also have Uber Eats. We do barbecue Thursdays, fish fry Fridays, and seafood Saturdays. For more information, give us a call for our address and menu, 718-324-7484. Once again, that's 718-324-7484. Cooler Runnings Restaurant, simply the best Jamaican food.
1 minute to 6 o'clock. That's what I love about the ads, especially those that are advertising our own Jamaican cuisine. When you hear it, you feel like you would just reach over and touch. I could perhaps sing, reach out and touch the food over there, so something like that. You know what I mean? I am just reminding those of you who have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel. Please go to YouTube, type in Inside the Zone with Lady D, the letter D for Denise. As you all know, my name is Denise Lady D Gomez. Go on over there and subscribe. When you do, check out this past Saturday morning runnings. I was at the river. No joke. I was at the river. Go check me out there. And you come back and tell me what you think. Okay? Yes, Saturday morning runnings. And I'm telling you, I had so much fun doing it myself. Nevertheless, this coming Saturday, however, is my first Saturday feature of Gifted Fingers Touching Lives, a gift, a calling, a purpose for gifted musicians. If you want to catch the show at 7 p.m. this coming Saturday, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share the YouTube channel. I'm also broadcasting on Facebook. So, this coming Saturday, Gifted Fingers Touching Lives. Gifted Fingers Touching Lives. I'm looking forward to having you join me because I have Rashawn Powell and he will be on the keyboard doing what he does best. It's always an entertaining evening. Get your wine, relax in your easy chair, whatever you'll be doing on a Saturday. But this Saturday, don't miss it. It's now time for Keeping You in the Know with news, happenings, and facts. Welcome, everyone. You know how we do on a Monday afternoon. Keeping you in the know with news, happenings, and facts brought to you courtesy of Universal Document Solution, Inc., 4225 Monticello Avenue in the Bronx, and Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. With me online this afternoon is a gentleman you all know very well. May I say, what's your name, what's your name, what's your name?
Chris Wilby from Caribbean Vibes Radio Network. Good afternoon to you, Lady D. How are you?
Good afternoon to you, Chris Wilby. Is that how, after such an intro, I needed something else. Something with a little more oomph, Chris Wilby. What is that?
Lady D, good afternoon, how are you?
Well, now we're talking. Because you've been MIA.
It's good to be back, man. It's good to be back. How is everything? How is everybody doing? Good afternoon to all the listeners. I am elated to be back.
Man, I tell you, I'm absolutely sure that you have just piqued the interest of so many of our avid viewers and listeners because, they like the camaraderie, they like the information, they like how we just simply bounce off each other here. Andrea is saying, welcome back, Chris. So nobody absent next week because you know what going to happen this or now. Right.
I tell you.
Yes, but it's a pleasure having you back.
Sometimes life comes at you hard,
Mm-hmm.
You have to just take a little while and just deal with some things and just recuperate and just bounce back. But I'm here.
Yeah, that's like Jim Billin.
yeah, just bounce back, just keep bouncing.
Yeah. So we're here this afternoon once again to do what we do and what we love to do. Share the headlines as they appear in our feature today of Inside the Zone with Lady D, keeping you in the know with news, happenings, and facts. As always, Chris Welby, we start off with your headline first.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. Good afternoon. And as I said before, I am happy to be back. We start off with news this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you from Washington, R. Kelly found guilty on all counts in sex trafficking trial. That's a bombshell that was, it's going all over the airwaves right now. R. Kelly, the R&B superstar, was long been trailed by accusations of sexual misconduct and abuse, was found guilty in New York on Monday on all counts in a high-profile sex trafficking case, capping a trial that featured hours of graphic testimony from the singer's accusers. Kelly, who has been in custody for much of the time since he was formally charged in 2019, was convicted on 1 count of racketeering and 8 counts of violating the Mann Act, a law that bars the transport of people across state lines for any immoral purpose. Today's guilty verdict forever brands R. Kelly as a predator who used his fame and fortune to prey on the young, the vulnerable, and the voiceless for his own sexual gratification, acting U.S. Attorney Casoulas said in a statement. To the victims in this case, your voices were heard, and justice was finally served. We hope that today's verdict brings some measure of comfort and closure to the victims, Casoulas added. Kelly, 54, who faces decades in prison when he is sentenced on May 4th, appeared stoic and wore a mask as the verdict was read aloud in the Brooklyn federal courtroom. The singer, let me read that again. The singer didn't say much of anything after the verdict was announced. The singer's lawyer, Devorah Connick, told reporters he was shocked. Kelly, best known for the 1996 hit I Believe I Can Fly, pled not guilty to all charges in the case. The singer, whose real name is Robert Sylvester Kelly, did not take the stand in his own defense. Gerald Griggs, a lawyer who said he represents several of Kelly's accusers and their families, thanked his clients and their immense strength and expressed his gratitude to prosecutors. This is just the beginning. We've been fighting this battle since 2017, and many of the victims have been fighting this battle for years, Griggs said. Finally, their voices were heard. The prosecutors in the trial, which centered around the allegations of 6 people, said that the singer was a serial sexual predator who abused young women as well as underage girls and boys for more than 2 decades. Prosecutors further alleged that the singer and his entourage led a criminal enterprise that recruited and groomed victims for sex, arranging for them to travel to concerts and other events across the U.S. In a closing argument that lasted 2 days, Assistant U.S. Attorney Elizabeth Geddes accused Kelly and his entourage of using tactics from the Predator playbook to control his victims. Kelly's alleged tactics included confining victims in hotel rooms or his recording studio, managing when they could eat and use the bathroom, and forcing them to follow various rules, including demanding they call him daddy. It is now time to hold the defendant responsible for the pain he inflicted on each of his victims, Geddes said Thursday in a federal court in Brooklyn. It is now time for the defendant, Robert Kelly, to pay for his crimes. Convict him. Lady D.
The Justice Department reached a deal with John Hinckley Jr., who tried to assassinate President Ronald Reagan in 1981, to free him from the strict conditions of release that he has been living with for several years. Hinckley was released from a mental hospital in 2016 and has lived in Williamsburg, Virginia, with his mother. The deal would grant him, quote, unconditional release, unquote, without restrictions on his movements or internet activity, and would go into effect in June, his lawyer said during a court hearing on Monday. U.S. District Judge Paul Friedman said he will approve the deal. Quote, if he hadn't tried to kill the president, he would have been given unconditional release a long time ago, unquote, Friedman said, adding that everybody's comfortable now with unconditional release because Hinckley has responded positively over the last decade or so while his freedoms were restored. Quote, I followed the law, I followed the evidence, and I followed the science, unquote. Friedman added, I'm very comfortable with where we are. I think it's probably overdue. My caution with taking incremental steps should give us all a great deal of comfort that everything is going to be just fine, unquote. Hinckley was found not guilty by reason of insanity and spent nearly 30 years at a mental hospital. Over time, he underwent extensive mental health treatment and received permission from judges to visit his family. Friedman released him from the hospital in 2016, and he moved in with his mother in Williamsburg. Last year, he got judicial clearance to start posting music online under his own name. There is an extensive body of evidence from independent psychologists and experts that Hinckley's mental disease is in full, stable, and complete remission and has been so for over 3 decades. His attorney, Barry Levine, said at the hearing, doctors have repeatedly concluded that Hinckley doesn't pose a risk to the public and is sincerely committed to continuing his therapy and treatment, Levine added. Through his attorney, Hinckley offered an apology to the Reagan family and to the other victims of the 1981 assassination attempt, including a police officer, Secret Service agent, and White House Press Secretary James Brady, who was paralyzed. Quote, his apologies are heartfelt and one of profound regret, unquote, said Levine. Perhaps it is too much to ask for forgiveness. Most recently, Hinckley has started a YouTube page and posts videos of himself playing a guitar, singing covers and original songs. He's an artist and wants to continue making music, Levine said. His future, we think, is bright, and I hope others with a good sense of charity would wish him well, Levine said. I would hope people would see this as a victory for mental health. People who have been ravaged by mental disease, with good support and access to treatment, can actually become productive members of society. The deal with Hinckley also comes nearly a month after Sirhan, a man convicted of assassinating Senator Robert F. Kennedy in 1968, was recommended for parole. A California parole board voted in favor of releasing Sirhan after he spent more than 50 years in jail for assassinating Kennedy, finding he was no longer a threat to public safety. The final decision to release Sirhan will ultimately be up to the governor of California. Many of Kennedy's children strongly oppose his release, though 2 of Kennedy's sons spoke in favor of Sirhan to the parole board.
3 persons were shot and killed, 1 injured, and another burned to death in his home as gunmen carried out 2 separate attacks in the St. James communities of Granville and Niagara. Those killed have been identified as 37-year-old Lydia Williams, otherwise called Alicia, and her common-law husband, 31-year-old Nick Williams, otherwise called Duppy, both unemployed of Niagara, along with 30-year-old Hossein Brown, otherwise called Nico, and 64-year-old Ainsworth Buckner, otherwise called Lance Bread, both of Guns Drive in Granville, St. James. In the first incident, Williams and his girlfriend were asleep in their board house about 4:30 a.m. on Saturday when men armed with guns kicked open the door to the house and opened fire, hitting them both. During a search of the couple's home, investigators also discovered a loaded .38 revolver under Nick Williams' pillow. Residents gathered outside the home of the victims lashed out at the manner in which Lydia died. Shari Finley said that her mother, Lydia, an epileptic, was a kind and loving person. The other incident took place shortly after 1 a.m. on Sunday. Men armed with high-powered rifles traveled on foot to a family yard at Guns Drive and opened fire, hitting Brown several times. His house was then burned to the ground. The fire spread to 2 other houses, destroying both dwellings and burning Buckner to death. While the police were processing the scene, gunshots were heard coming from another section of the community. Another resident was shot in his upper body and rushed to hospital, where he was admitted in critical condition. Buckner's eldest daughter, Nikisha, who said she was inside her home when she heard the barrage of gunshots, got a telephone call that her father's house was on fire, but she was fearful of venturing outside. She said, "It sounded like a world war. 2 broke out in the community. When we do get a chance to come out at that time, my father already burned to death and his house burned down." Tafika Blake, Brown's sister, also shared that her family has been struck with a series of tragedies over the last 2 years. A family member died in childbirth in 2019. Following the shooting, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang and St. James West Central Member of Parliament Marlene Malaho Fort toured the community and spoke to the grieving relatives of both victims. If you follow the crime pattern, it was obviously a well-planned operation, Chiang said, of the 1 a.m. attack. And although it was designed to take the police off guard, they were very near because they were here in Granville and they responded almost immediately. But at that hour in the morning, with the darkness and men with high-powered weapons, the police had to be careful how they engaged them.
A San Francisco news anchor is said to have been taken off the air in a dispute over Gabby Petito coverage. Sources told the Mercury News that Frank Somerville, the anchor for the Bay Area Fox station KTVU, was suspended indefinitely after he suggested a segment on Petito should include a line questioning the amount of media coverage her case had received. The sources told the outlet that Somerville wanted to acknowledge the disparities in media attention between cases of missing white and those indigenous women and women of color. Somerville, who is white and has an adopted black daughter, was said to have pushed back against management after being told his suggestion was inappropriate. The news anchor's suspension is his second this year, per the Mercury News. He was taken off the air in May after slurring and stumbling over his words while reading from a teleprompter, and he had only recently returned after an 8-week suspension. Petito, 22, was reported missing by her family on September 11 after her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, arrived home from a road trip across the U.S. without her. Her body was found about a week later, and the FBI ruled her death homicide. Laundrie refused to cooperate with the police investigation into Petito's disappearance and has been missing since September 17. Petito's case has captured news headlines for weeks. Critics have described the avid media coverage as a display of missing white woman syndrome, noting that similar cases involving women of color do not get the same attention.
The Bogwalk police are investigating the circumstances surrounding a fatal accident involving 27-year-old Macadia Hudson of a Royal Palm address in Old Harbor, St. Catherine. It is reported that while negotiating the Flatbridge turn, Hudson lost control of the vehicle, which overturned into the river. The accident occurred at about 1 a.m. Officers were alerted, and the body and the vehicle were recovered sometime this morning.
And out of Montego Bay, members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, were engaged in an intense gun battle with heavily armed gangsters who went on a shooting and arson rampage which left 2 men dead and 3 houses torched in Granville here during the wee hours of yesterday morning. Another man was shot and injured in the attack and has been admitted at the Falmouth Public General Hospital. The dead men have been identified as 64-year-old Ainsworth Buckner, also known as Lamb's Bread, and 27-year-old O'Shane Brown, who is better known as Nico. Both are from Granville. It is not clear if Buckner, whose body was recovered in one of the 3 houses that were firebombed by the gangsters, was burnt to death or died as a result of gunshots, but Brown was said to be shot dead. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang, who accompanied St. James West Central Member of Parliament Marlene Malahoo Fort to the area, vowed to dismantle the gang said to be domiciled in and around the area. Quote, "I want to reassure the citizens that the police are working assiduously to disrupt the gangs. The security forces are going to take steps to disrupt the gangsters." This yesterday. Morning's incident was sad and unfortunate, but we are going to ensure that the gangsters are apprehended and restore peace and public safety to the people of Granville, Dr. Chang vowed. An obviously shaken female member of the community told the Jamaica Observer that she and her family members were awakened by a barrage of gunshots which started from as early as 1 a.m. and lasted for nearly an hour. The security minister explained that the 2 police squads, which were a short distance away when the attack began, challenged the shooters in a gunfight, but they eventually used the shadow of darkness to escape. Quote, in fact, much of the shootings that the citizens heard this morning that caused a level of fear was as a result of the engagement of the police with the criminals, unquote, Dr. Chang disclosed. And although it was designed to take the police off guard, they were not very near. They were in Granville and they responded almost immediately. But at that hour in the darkness and men with high-powered weapons, the police had to be careful while engaging them. Quote, but the police reacted well and engaged the criminals and were able to move them from the scene. But we did not lose 2 citizens. In Granville, a gentleman who was burnt in the house. I'm sure if he was shot as well, and a young woman who was shot by the criminals, Dr. Chang said. One young man recounted he and his 9-year-old daughter managed to escape with their lives after his house was set ablaze by the marauding gangsters. Quote, I was asleep and me hear something like shot, so me go into the bathroom to urinate, and while urinated, me see smoke coming in the house, and she, the daughter, was sleeping in her room. So me run and try lick out the bathroom window, but me couldn't lick out the window, and me try lick out the room window, and me couldn't lick out the room window. So me just run back and pull her off the bed, and she drop on her face, and me hold her mouth and tell her, don't bawl out, unquote. He said he lifted up the child and ran outside through the door, which was blanketed in smoke, and escaped. Quote, but she heavy, and me lift her up and run through the smoke and reach at the doorway. Me see the next house under fire and my house under fire. The smoke a kill me. She couldn't go back inside, so me tear down the fence and escape through and come up at the next yard or so, unquote. He bemoaned that none of their belongings was saved, as the 6-apartment house was completely razed by fire. Quote, couldn't save anything. 6-apartment house burned down flat. My daughter couldn't save anything. No school book, no birth certificate, got everything gone. Nothing me don't get to save, he lamented, his voice cracking up. For most of the residents, for the most part, residents were tight-lipped, but one woman who claimed to have had a relationship with Buckner, which produced a daughter, argued that he did not deserve such a violent death.
An American tourist who is allegedly wanted for criminal offenses in the United States was arrested in St. Anne after failing to report back to a cruise ship that docked in the tourist resort on September 13th. 20-year-old Eric Lott was reported missing, and a search launched after he did not return to the vessel. He was arrested during an operation conducted by the St. Anne police along the Brownstown Main Road yesterday. He was charged for breaching the Immigration Act and will face the court on Tuesday. According to police sources, Lott, who is from Douglasville, address in Georgia, is wanted on charges of murder and aggravated assault in the same city. Law enforcers say Lott also goes by the name Garfield Anthony Michael Sewell.
The Bulwark Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding a fatal accident involving 27-year-old Macadia Hudson of a Royal Palm Drive address in Old Harbor, St. Catherine. It is reported that while negotiating the Flatbridge turn, Hudson lost control of the vehicle, which overturned into the river. The accident occurred at about 1 a.m. Officers were alerted, and the body and the vehicle were recovered sometime this morning.
And finally, Lady D, a black Google employee said he was escorted off the campus by security because they didn't believe he worked there. A black Google product manager said he was stopped by security in a viral tweet last week. The employee said, somebody called security on me because they didn't believe I was an employee. A Google spokesperson told Forbes that they take the workers' concerns very seriously. 2 days later, Onaho tweeted that security ended up taking my ID badge away from me later that day, and I was to call security if I had a problem with it. And that was after holding me up for 30 minutes, causing me to miss my bus ride home, he added. According to Onaho's LinkedIn profile, he works at Google's Mountain View, California office. Onaho did not immediately respond to Insider's request for comment, but a Google spokesperson told Insider in a statement that the company takes its employees' concern very seriously and contacted him about the incident. They said, "We learned that the employee was having issues with his badge due to an administrative error and contacted the reception team for help." The spokesperson said after they were unable to resolve the issue, the security team was called to look into and help resolve the issue.
And that's okay. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, we have presented the news articles as we found them, as they appeared today, and now we open the phone lines for your discussion. But as always, Chris Wilby, we have our part to play where we kick off with our discourse over the headlines read. I was actually looking for a headline I thought I had pulled up because just about a day or two ago, a policeman was chopped by a homeless person in St. Catherine, and he succumbed to his injuries. So I always also wanted to have that discussion in our community life this afternoon. But before we start, let's acknowledge our first caller. Good afternoon. Welcome to Keeping You in the Know.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
We're well, thank you. You know who this is, Chris Wilby?
Hi, Dio.
Hey, welcome back. I guess you're off tending to your supermarket.
Oh, dear. Chris, you remember that.
Yeah, you give me supermarket to the deal. I'm going to have to take you up on the offer, you know.
You're right.
Or you came to New York to take your claim.
I hear you. What's up?
Anyway,
it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Welcome back. That you're alive and well.
Thank you.
A couple of things jump out at me from the headlines you read. One thing, first thing, a Flatbridge story. They said the accident occurred at 1 a.m.
Yes.
At 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So if things happen, if we all of us who know Flatbridge, and if things have not changed in Jamaica in terms of as congested Jamaica is with traffic, but I still don't know if at 1 a.m. in the morning on Flatbridge you find much people in that area.
I don't think it had anything to do with traffic congestion. I would more think the person was speeding. That's my take.
Okay, but one thing, no. I was saying that it's traffic congestion of cause. I was saying to the contrary that at 1 a.m. in the morning, all of a sudden, sort of preambling saying that given how Jamaica also is so traffic now, but still I don't know if Flatbridge at that time in the morning would have much traffic going by. So what I'm saying, this should be like a loner, a rear, motorist at Flatbridge at that time in the morning, 1 a.m. in the morning.
Coming from somewhere,
yeah.
I guess.
The odds of you can get in the rescue was slim, at time in the morning. And also, Flatbridge can be somewhat misty, foggy at some time in the morning. I can't recall if in summer months it's like that, but it can be like that, having driven there in the wheels of the morning. So the point I'm making, it's tragic, and that happenings are likely that there would be anyone to rescue him or her at that time. So it's the outcome is not a surprise.
Well, what also happened, because I also heard the headline being broadcast on another network, and it appears that the driver was able to, jump out of the vehicle. Maybe in the water, they were not specific, but I'm thinking so. But the occupant wasn't as successful, the woman. And so the vehicle submerged, and at that hour, as we are discussing of the morning, nobody would have been out to jump in because you have all them fish around there, right? Young boys, young
The
men.
sport I'm making.
Yes.
Right. And also, I don't think the area is lit.
No, not that I know.
That I know of. So, And the next issue is that whole Granville shooting thing. You know what is very interesting? I mean, crimes happen, shooting happen, and so forth. But what is interesting is that that's the constituency of Malahoo Fort, who is the AG, and also Horace Chan, the National Security Minister here. If my memory serves me right, I think he has an adjoining constituency, and even if not, he represents a constituency in St. James, that not in rural St. James, but part of the so-called metropolitan St. James. And you say to yourself, all these things going on, and also, of course, you recall that that's where Zozo started.
Yes.
In St. James, Montego Bay area, and these two prominent individuals are in law enforcement ministry, and with all these things going on. So I hope you get my drift.
I get your drift, but as we know, the position that they hold, the access that they have to law enforcement officers, to perhaps ensure that their communities are safe, their constituencies are safe, we know that the lawless men and women, the criminals, they have no qualms about your portfolio or any such the like. If they want to commit an atrocious act, they're going to do it.
And I get that. And that's why I preamble by saying, people going to do stuff, you can't stop them, and you can't be everywhere. But what I'm saying is, given, and I remember throwing the Zozo for whatever that reminds us of, and you're talking about constituencies where these two high-profile law enforcement people represent, and yet, and guns are still around. It's what does that say for the rest of the country? What does that say? It is heartrending and just
yes. I get you.
It is. I'm telling you, crazy.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, dear.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Dale.
914-600-4228. We're discussing the headlines of the afternoon. Chris Wilby, what's your take?
I don't know if I want to go over what Dale has said, but there is a headline that you read about the Gabby Petito case, where that news anchor was taken off the air for wanting to add a line or two into the news, stating that
about the amount
black
of
people,
right,
the amount of black people who are going missing, and the amount of coverage that this one case is getting. They wanted to just throw that in there. Not that he didn't want to cover the case, but he wanted to highlight the fact that there are many other cases out there that aren't getting the same coverage.
Yes.
And if I may say a few things on this case here, I myself have made similar comments on the case. And while I grieve with the family, and my condolence go out to the family and friends of this beautiful young lady, it goes to show the hypocrisy in the news media, where when it comes to these kind of things, because there are many, many cases of black, brown people going missing, and they do not get this kind of coverage. They have a thing that they have a saying that they use for it. It's the missing white people syndrome or something to that effect, because they will go wall to wall in covering these stories, every turn, and they won't do it for other people. And if I may say one other thing too, one of the things I think got her killed is her white privilege. And some people may say, why you say so, something like that. It was reported that police got information that she was being abused. Somebody called in and said they saw the young man slapping her up. And the police, they went, I listened to the 911 call. The police got the information. They went and found them. She was very hysterical. She was crying uncontrollably. She showed signs of abuse, but the police refused to take them in for further questioning. And I said this because she was white. Had this been a black couple, and it was reported that they were fighting, and then they pulled up on the black couple and saw signs that somebody was being abused, the police would have been quick to arrest them or arrest somebody from out of that group, from out of the party, to go question him, further. But because they were white, the police did not want to believe that it was that serious. And they did not want this beautiful young white couple to be arrested, because once they get arrested, then it's going to go on their record and all of that. So I look at it, and the first thing that came to my mind when I heard of it is that white privilege. And it is very, very sad. The police should have, in that case, brought them in for questioning. And when they bring them in, it would have been revealed at that time that she was being abused, because right there on the side of the road was not the place to find out whether or not she was being abused in front of her abuser. She was just not going to do it, especially if she's afraid of him. She was not going to talk right there and then. So the police blundered big time.
It's very unfortunate, though, because each time that we see a headline that pops up on our television screens or in print media which says that a young white female has gone missing, has resulted in a fatal and subsequent news headline. And you're all right. They are raised differently. Did you know that? For most people who are listening, and many people perhaps already know, they're raised differently. They're raised to believe that they have that free-flowing spirit to explore and learn new things and go new places without supervision, which is why half the time when you find them going off to spring break and so on, there are so many things that they experience, and some have died, some have not made news. But that's how they are. They'll go off with men in a bar, they'll go for driving, they will go hiking, they'll go skydiving, they'll go just about anywhere at all, and their parents allow them. But someone just said to me yesterday that, did you know that some of these white children, their parents can't talk to them? And the black parents get the slap for knocking you out if necessary. right?
Yeah.
So it's an extreme. We're working in extremities here. It's either you have the black family who we are known to discipline, like we raised in last week, where the discipline can go overboard, but we are known to discipline you. And then there are those who tell you that they don't believe in slapping, what have you, so their children just become very verbose and just open their mouth and say just about anything that comes to their mind and say to their parents. Let's acknowledge our caller. Good afternoon. How are you?
So repeat call.
Yes, sir.
Oh me, oh my. R. Kelly.
Very sad. I saw
But
it.
before I go, before I go there, it's one of the things that gentleman from Douglasville, Georgia, was picked up in Jamaica for breach of
Yes.
immigration and found to be have
Criminal.
criminal. Yeah, but that's the reason why he was like drifting in Jamaica.
That he was what?
So
Repeat.
Well, I think
drifting,
he did.
drifting in Jamaica.
I think he didn't want to come back. I think he wanted to because he was wanted in the United States. But it's a good thing you bring this up, Dale. I was thinking about the same thing. You know, how did he even get the chance to travel out of the country, knowing that he was wanted? I mean, could this have happened in Jamaica? Could a wanted man in Jamaica get the chance to just go on a cruise and just decide to? Because if that happened, then the chance of you disappearing in another country is very, 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 very good.
Well, Chris, to be honest, to the contrary, I think it should be the other way around. There's a likelihood that he could, if he was Jamaican, could just go away. You know who that is. I'm surprised that he was able to leave the United States a criminal record because you'd have to go through an airport here, and you know how law enforcement operate. So I'm rather surprised that he was able to criminal record. But good that the Jamaican law enforcement was able to pick him up and run whatever they did and found out that he's a criminal.
Yes.
Observation, the name, that length name that he has, sounds very Jamaican.
What's his name again?
Let me see if I can pull up this the article. Hang on a second.
There's a first name and two middle name and a last name.
Let me see the article here. His name is Eric Lott.
Say it again?
Yeah, his name is Eric Lott.
As in L-O-T? L-O-T-T?
L-O-T-T.
That was a different name that I heard.
No, he's 20-year-old Eric Lott. Yeah.
Not sure what you heard there, DL.
He is from Douglasville in Georgia.
Not the white, Douglasville.
Oh, he also goes by this is why he also goes by the name of Garfield Anthony Michael Sewell.
There you go. I knew I heard a four name.
Okay.
Yeah, you're listening.
And that's from very Jamaican.
Right, so they wouldn't even pick up anything.
Garfield Anthony Michael Sewell.
Yes, because Princess just says because he was using two different names.
Alias.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't believe him.
R. Kelly. Now, if R. Kelly really, really did such referenceable things, of course he deserves what he gets. I thought that he was just preying on young, impressionable women, but that laundry list of stuff that he did.
Well, that's it.
And with boys, R. Kelly, oh my goodness.
Well, that's what they said, that the deliberation wasn't necessary to have extended beyond where it did. Because they said the amount of evidence that they had, and the judicial system, that's what they go by, evidence.
Yeah. So
So
compelling.
yeah, that's what got him right there.
So,
But you know, R. Kelly has been in the music business for years, and this is something that we have always heard about him. You know, so I this is one that I can say that I am shocked because we were always hearing that R. Kelly likes underage children, underage girls. It has been out there forever. Just that he just got caught.
And it's
I mean,
very
that's a fact.
unfortunate.
I understand that he has an insatiable appetite for young women, aka, and Exhibit A being his late wife, Alea. But I never know that, and there are a lot of men who are like that. Let's kid ourselves.
Yes,
that it is right. But I didn't know that the coercion and kind of a sex slave and stuff that he was engaging in was like, that was really, really beyond the pale. I guess his behavior and the stuff that he does is kind of like Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, yes. But you know something? His appearance that many of us saw live when we went to Groovin in the Park, he was brash. There were children there, and his songs of choice was just so inappropriate for that family setting, and he didn't care.
I'm glad you bring that up.
He did not
because I remember
care.
I remember distinctly when it was made public on Groovin in the radio. You know, the same people of the event that he'll be on the list, and a lot of people call in and express their
concern,
the opposition to it, and Ras Clem assured them, oh no, we spoke to him and about it and so forth and yadi and yadi and that and he said that he would not do those kind of stuff that people concerned about, and he did it.
He did anyway. It was a mess,
Did
and
it?
people started to leave.
That is R. Kelly.
Yeah, he has no regard.
R. Kelly. That's what he's going to do.
He has no regard for anybody.
No, that's what he's going to do.
And clearly,
this is.
I'm just saying, clearly, he has no regard for anyone. So the woman, these young impressionable women who came in contact with him, pretty much had no say. So I well imagine what he had done, to be honest, with them, because he thought he could, and that he could get away with it. So here we are.
Obviously, long run, short catch.
Same so. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, DL.
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
you're welcome.
No problem. Yes, Mr. Wilby, it's a good afternoon here. We're having discussions. Those of you who are tuning in, don't forget the show ends at 7 p.m. If you'd like to call, it's 6:48 p.m. 914-600-4228. Are there headlines that piqued your interest? Please give us a call. Okay, you're ringing from somewhere. Not sure where you're ringing from, but you're ringing. Oh. I do apologize for that. I am getting a ring, and I'm not too sure where it's coming from, so I had to disconnect. It appears Mr. Wilby got cut off, so he'll call me back. Good afternoon, everyone. Keeping you in the know with news, happenings, and facts. Brought to you right here on Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez, and we're certainly having a good conversation this afternoon. Welcome back, Mr. Wilby. Not sure what happened there just now, but good day to you. Yes. I was touched by a headline. I'm looking for it, but anyway, I did read it, and it's a current headline where a police officer was chopped to death by a man in Bogwalk in St. Catherine. Now it is believed, or let me use the word alleged, I don't live there, but it was alleged that this man has been attacking the residents of that community for some time now. His family has made numerous appeals for, help to get him off the street, but that was not forthcoming. I know, and the appeal is made to the agencies that operate, mental health care, assistance, and also they were appealing to the government. Now, you and I know that to go way up the ladder is not even the best approach to make. You have agencies in your parish, etc. For whatever reason, Chris, that didn't happen. And now here you go. Here is this policeman who was just going across to get something, and the man come right up and chop him, kill him. By the time they some assistants came and they were taking him to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. We have been brought up in your major towns, in your parish, or in your own community where you've had people who are homeless, or some of them are of a sound mind, and all of that. And you know them, you avoid them the best way you can. But they have been hurting people over time. And the numbers are growing. The numbers are growing in Jamaica. And now here is a policeman that has gotten killed. Go ahead.
I'm not familiar with that story. So what happened to the person?
Well, so he was
still
shot.
On the street?
Yes, he was shot and killed in the process.
Okay, so there we go.
There we go. But again,
because I was kind of thinking that was going to be the outcome. Now that he has killed a police officer, chances are that if he had killed a civilian, he would not have been shot and killed. They probably would have apprehended him. But the fact that he killed a police officer, they were going to go for revenge. It's like everybody is going to wait until something as serious as this happens before they act, because we are very reactionary.
And
nobody wants to act before something serious happens, and then now you're going to have I bet you have the entire police force coming to tour the area and coming to grieve and coming to do all of that, while people were pleading long before this happened to get this man some help, get him off the street, and I bet there were lots of bureaucracies.
Bureaucratic red tape that they have to be going
red
through.
tapes and all of that. You have to go through this, you have to pull out this, you have to do this, you have to do that. But if he kills somebody, then we can act immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's disgusting how we act in this society.
And hear the deal. For me, usually when a person is suffering from depression or something, it's not immediate. It's not an immediate thing where they suddenly just go crazy, where they lose their minds, right? It's a progression. And if they do not get the help that they need right away, then it becomes increasingly worse. So whether they had just lost their job, their house, their car, their failed relationship, something, their sanity doesn't go right away, but over time it leads to that, until if they do not get help. And when you don't get help, a depression will take you, and then you will just go off kilter. Many of them, that's how it has happened, to the point where they can't stay at home anymore. So family can't manage that kind of thing. They don't have the skill set for that, you know, and so they're pushed out on the street. And you are 5 minutes to go. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Very interesting discussion you're having there.
Oh, dear Lord. So I hear, I'll go with the younger voice I heard at first.
I have one question, my dear. You mentioned, can you give us an example of what
Mr.
help we
Hines?
give to these people, psychological, financial, find them a home? I suppose there are different types of help you could, I'm trying to inquire which help would you suggest if someone is chopping people up and things like that. What do you suggest you do?
Well, I mean, I have explained on air that when I first moved out on my own, I lived with a family friend, a friend of my church. We were good friends. And their brother had a mental problem. But what you find is that until sometimes the family accepts that my family member is genuinely not well, they have a mental problem, they will keep them home. If after some time and they don't keep them home, then they throw them out. When you because if you get help for them, and the first thing they do is either counseling or they put them on medication or something, or they're institutionalized depending on the severity of the mental illness. But if you have them out on the street and there's no help for them, they are just out there wandering around, then at some point, I can hear myself in the background. At some point,
I'm sorry.
At some point, yes, at some point, you're going to have to get them help.
Very well said, ma'am. Based on your personal experience. So you had family intervention in that case. Am I right in suggesting
yes,
that?
there was family intervention. The person suffering from that mental breakdown, they lived at home.
Yes, ma'am.
But living in the home space was not always very comfortable, because whenever they get a flare up, it affects everybody. So at some point, you have to get help for them. When they are out on the street, most of us have seen them. We've seen them in our communities. And it's either we just call them, oh, Mad Johnny over there, or Mad Mary, or something. And their their condition is becoming increasingly worse. So they need to get help. If they don't get help, they're going to stay out there. And these are the kinds of situations that will arise where they will hurt people, kill people. That's what happened.
It's very interesting about this discussion, because I think it's one that's really worth to be looked at. Because even where I live, there has been, well, not where I live especially, but where I drive my car. It has been upper middle income neighborhood basically over the years. And there are a strong infusion of people. I don't know if they're crazy or what. They're begging out of money on the street. And the residents are very, very upset about it. So they're used to a different level of things in their community. So I think some of these guys do need, they do need help. I will forward you, ma'am. It's almost that you're off the air.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Miss
Thanks,
Lady.
Mr.
And thanks for
Hines.
taking my call, my dear.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay.
You're good. Okay, love. Bless you. Bye-bye.
All right. We're wrapping up. We have a minute to go. Is there another caller online?
Yes, Lady D.
My dear
Welcome
heart.
back, Mr. Welby.
Thank you very much,
How
young
are
lady.
you?
Good to be here. I am doing fine, thank you.
Yam lady, you notice I'm very quiet.
I was holding on so long to say, welcome back, Mr. Welby. Hi, Lady D.
Greetings,
How
my
are
young
you?
lady.
Very interesting topic at the last moment there. We will talk, Lady D.
Yes, ma'am. Blessings to you. Okay.
Good to hear it. Good to hear you, young lady.
Yes, Mr. Welby. That lady, Mr. Lady D.
All right, ma'am.
We'll talk. God
yes, bless you. Okay.
All right, take care.
All right, do we have another caller? Because it's now time for us to end our program for this evening. All right, Chris Wilby, go ahead.
Yes, Lady D, thank you very much. It's good to be back, and it was a very, very interesting discussion, as usual. So looking forward to being back here next week to do it all over again. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Blessings to you, Chris Wilby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for tuning in to the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. Aired Mondays, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you so much. And, of course, I'll take this back because mental health issues, it doesn't matter what calendar they give it in any given year, in a particular month, people live with this every day of their lives. They have had family, friends, many people, they don't have that kind of, is a special kind of skill set that you need to handle people like this. And when they are roaming around in your communities and so on, again, I grew up with one in Maypen. We called him Spitty Dread. Tall, slender, handsome man. Whatever happened to Spitty Dread, he would just walk around and he would be spitting and trying to touch girls, all kind of stuff. And you just grew up knowing this man and say, when I see him, I will run or I'll walk on the opposite side of the street. But it's not, how many of us get the opportunity, unlike this police officer, who didn't get a chance to go to the opposite side of the street? Think about that. Thank you so much again. Thanks to Cooler Runnings, Jamaican Restaurant, and Universal Document Solution, Inc. I had a good afternoon. To my YouTubers, you're always there for me. Thank you so much for keeping my company. Blessings to all of you. And as I always say, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, love yourselves, love your children, and remember, in everything you do, it is the will of God concerning your life. A lot of love and blessings. Mwah. I'm out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, a lot of love, blessings to you, and to my YouTubers. You can see while the others can't see that I get to give you the little smooch before I leave. So blessings to you. Looking forward to being back here on Thursday with Center Stage. Oh, before I go, I forgot, on Thursday, it's the Love Zone with love songs for 2 hours. My gosh. I know MS had liked some selections I was playing this past Thursday. So MS, get yourself ready, because I will be playing up a storm and reading love poetry and taking you all back into places that you actually forgot. Blessings, everyone.
One radio station.
They play the best music.
Number one. Best music. For your listening pleasure.
There are radio stations within the air, but to this, none can compare. Trying to figure what to think, because now with us, you're fully linked. Stay linked to Linkage Radio, your home for entertainment.
This station rules.
Pinky Lou, me pants them not tight up on me like a youth. Pinky Lou, me pants them not tight up on me like a youth. Cause, you know the other day my wife used to go to